Hello, I'm Sarah from Turn Back Time, and this is my day 9 of the Healthy Eating Challenge. Because my body's changed in the last week and my weight has dropped, today was time for me to measure myself again. You need to do this every week so you can stay abreast of exactly how many blocks you should be eating to fuel your body perfectly. When I started, I was on 10.48 blocks, so I went with 10, rounding down. Today, with a waist now of 34.5, so 2.5 inches less than when I started, and a bust of 39.5, also 2.5 inches less, and 2 inches off my hips, it was time to measure again. Well, the good, and to be quite honest, stunning news, is my percentage of body fat is now 32.97, down from 35, so 2% less body fat than when I started 9 days ago. I know I'm rejoicing at tiny numbers, but that's already 2% of the 12% I need to lose to be the average ratio of lean body mass. After a week, I added it up wrong to start with, and I thought I'd jumped to 39% body fat and panicked, then did the maths again. If you're grappling with the maths, just think about something which I learned last year when I was forced to take an algebra class. Algebra isn't really about maths for most of us, although I'm sure it's quite useful to many mathematicians. But what it's really about is patience. So just like this eating plan, just slow down, take your time and follow the template for how to calculate your blocks on the website or in the book. And it's worth it, I promise. It's worth the hassle to see the new lowered figures if you go step by step, and it's quite self-explanatory. Although Lord knows how Barry Sears of The Zone, who devised it, came up with the calculation method. I'll explain it out loud here, but I do not expect you to follow it. But you might, and you might also just appreciate having it said out loud. So for women, you take the measurement of your hips, your waist and your height and enter it into the table on the website to get a number for each. Men measure different parts, which I explained on the website, but the process is the same. So you add together the numbers for the hips and the waist measurement, and then you deduct your height number, and that gives you your body fat percentage. For me, it came to 32.97. Then you multiply your body fat percentage by your weight. So using mine, it's 188.2 pounds times 32.97%, and that gives you the weight of your total body fat. That's a scary figure. For me, it's 62.04 pounds. I cling to the fact we do need some fat. Then you deduct that number from your weight, then multiply what you get by an exercise ratio given on the website and listed here on the screen here. For me, it's light exercise, 0.6. Mine came to 75.69, then divide the whole number by 7, given that 1 block of protein is 7 grams, and you have the number of protein blocks which you need to eat to fuel your body. I bet Barry Sears was good at algebra. It's like one of those girly magazine quizzes where when you divide the final number by 10, it tells you how much you like the guy next door. It's a bit nuts. But what it means now is I now need to eat nearer 11 blocks a day rather than 10. So it is as weird as I was telling you. The slimmer you get, the more you have to eat. For those of you who were already struggling to eat what was already prescribed, this may not be good news. But you may just not be used to eating that much because you've tried so hard to restrict yourself to get thin. But you weren't putting the good stuff in rather than just taking out the bad. So we have to go through this rigmarole every week to keep the weight dropping off. And there are certain foods that your body acutely needs, not only to keep you physically healthy, but mentally too. I mentioned in an earlier podcast that your body needs 20 amino acids to be working perfectly, 9 of which have to come from food. One of those essential amino acids, which the body cannot make without food, is tryptophan. So what's so important about tryptophan? Well, it makes serotonin, which makes melatonin. Serotonin is the happy chemical in your body, which makes you feel relaxed and calm. When it's released from your gut, some serotonin goes directly to the brain and makes melatonin. And when it's made enough over the course of the day, after a number of hours, you start to get sleepy and you go to bed. If you don't have enough tryptophan in your body, your serotonin will be low. So you may feel anxious, upset, edgy, irritable. It also means you won't have any melatonin because there's nothing left to make it. So you won't be sleeping. Now, you may have anxiety and insomnia just because you didn't eat properly. It is that closely connected. You might go to the docs and you might get given an antidepressant and a sleeping pill. Well, that's not going to give you any tryptophan. So you're not actually fixing anything. So what do you need to eat to get tryptophan? Well, brace yourself for the usual list. It's in plant and animal protein, but it's much easier to break down from animal proteins. So chicken, fish, seafood, eggs, cheese, yogurt. The plant proteins with tryptophan are quinoa, soy and buckwheat, although I personally avoid all soy because the harvesting method is quite shocking. They drench it in pesticides just before harvesting, and then that goes directly into you. There's a big debate about it. Men really shouldn't touch soy because it mimics estrogen in the body and it causes problems with testosterone levels and also fertility. But it also disrupts the endocrine system in women. It's in almost every processed food because it's cheap. It's also full of oxalates which make kidney stones, which you don't need. If you Google it, you'll find so many reasons not to touch it, so I just don't. But that's up to you. However, I was reading that soy sauce is fine because of the fermentation process. It removes the dangers. One of the foods tryptophan is in, which made me chuckle, is turkey. So did they intentionally or by accident choose turkey for Thanksgiving or Christmas lunch? Because it's a food that makes us automatically feel happy. But it's time to not only eat it for special occasions then. Well, I shall leave you now to your calculations if you're following along with me. And do come back tomorrow and I'll look forward to seeing you. Until then.